It began not with gunfire, but with steel. The clouds of war gathered above Europe like a brewing storm. But instead of machine guns, thunder echoed from the clash of blades. Armored legions moved across the countryside. Archers took positions on zeppelins. Siege towers rolled into Belgium. This was not the Great War we remember. In this timeline, the world never discovered the power of gunpowder. Humanity never industrialized death with bullets and bombs. Instead, we perfected the art of war with swords, shields, and steel. Welcome to a reality where World War I became the bloodiest medieval war in history. Our timeline diverges in the mid-15th century. Across Europe and Asia, gunpowder is still an experimental marvel. Alchemists, monks, and kings all tinker with early firearms. But in this alternate world, a catastrophe strikes first. A series of volcanic eruptions, largely forgotten in our own history, leads to widespread contamination of key saltpeter sources in China, India, and the Ottoman Empire. The result? Explosions become unpredictable. Cannons misfire. Soldiers and nobles alike die in weapons tests. Religious leaders seize the moment. The Catholic Church condemns gunpowder as the black fire of hell. Islamic scholars declare it forbidden sorcery. In China, it's associated with spiritual impurity. The backlash is swift and cultural. Nations retreat from the path of explosives. Firearms are discarded as dishonorable and unreliable. Crossbows are relegalized. Metallurgy takes center stage. And with it, warfare doesn't stop evolving. It just evolves differently. By the 1700s, Europe's greatest minds are not designing muskets, but perfecting plate armor, refining long-range ballistas, and engineering mobile siege towers powered by steam and horses. Empires expand not through cannon fire, but with cold steel. Fast forward to 1914. The world's still industrialized, but without bullets. Steel reigns supreme. Military power is measured by a nation's armor-forging capacity, the strength of its cavalry, and the discipline of its shield formations. The British Empire rules the waves with ironclad boarding frigates, naval vessels built for ramming and boarding rather than shelling from afar. Their Royal Legion deploys armored longbowmen and steam chariots. The German Empire boasts elite Zweihander shock troops, heavily armored pike phalanxes, and steam-assisted cavalry units known as Iron Riders. France has doubled down on mobility, training elite fencing legions that specialize in guerrilla raids and ambushes. Russia maintains endless legions of conscripted spear infantry, backed by slow, rolling fortress wagons drawn by oxen. The Ottoman Empire has mastered incendiary oil tactics and siege-based warfare, while the United States, still relatively isolationist, is secretly developing exoplated warriors, early prototypes of steam-powered armored knights. Every major power runs national blacksmithing schools. War horses are genetically bred for size and stamina. Helmets are passed down as heirlooms. Europe is armed to the teeth, but with blades. On a summer day in Sarajevo, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, is assassinated. Not with a gun, but with a ceremonial dagger. Plunged into his chest by a Serbian nationalist posing as a diplomat. The death reverberates like a war horn across Europe. Austria-Hungary accuses Serbia of betrayal and dishonor. And in a world where honor is everything, there can be no turning back. Austria declares a war of blades. Germany vows support. Russia mobilizes its spear divisions to defend Serbia. France and Britain prepare their legions. The alliances, so familiar in our history, snap into action. Armies are loaded into trains, not with rifles, but with crates of longswords, halberds, tower shields, and siege ladders. War songs ring out. Parades fill the cities. The people still believe it'll be over by Christmas. They are terribly, tragically wrong. As the armies collide, one harsh reality settles in. Medieval combat may be glorious, but it's not fast. The Western Front becomes a frozen chessboard of trenches, shield walls, and archer nests. Shielded warriors dig in deep. Mud-choked ditches become fortresses, guarded by iron spikes and fire pits. Warriors make nightly raids under cover of darkness. Swords clash in tight quarters. Archers send flaming volleys across no man's land. Ballistas and trebuchets replace artillery. Some armies even drop weighted boulders from primitive airships. Others deploy smokescreens made from burning herbs and pitch. It is brutal. It is slow. And it is horrifying. Because every death is face-to-face, every wound personal, every kill deliberate. Soldiers don't just fire and forget. They look their enemies in the eyes. And when they return home, if they return home, those eyes haunt them. The stalemate cannot last. Each nation begins pushing sword-era technology to terrifying new heights. Germany unleashes Iron Titans, steam-powered exosuits worn by elite knights capable of lifting siege walls and crushing enemy ranks. France equips its elite with flame-resistant cloaks and twin swords, perfect for agile trench assaults. Britain pioneers aerial warfare. Glider troops dive silently from zeppelins, landing behind enemy lines to sabotage supply routes and set fire to siege camps. And while poison gas doesn't exist, the horror doesn't stay away for long. Armies begin launching plague-ridden corpses over walls. Others experiment with hallucinogenic smoke, causing panic before a raid. The Ottomans bring back war elephants, outfitted with fire-spewing howdahs and thick armor. Russia trains bears to wear armor and break through shield walls. The war stops being about honor and starts being about extinction. If you've made it this far into the trenches, you're already deep in the steel-soaked heart of this alternate timeline. So, here's your command. Subscribe to the channel, ring that war bell, and give this video a like if you want to see more battles from timelines that never were. And don't miss the next chapter. We're about to enter the darkest part of the war. The Battle of the Somme becomes a nightmare of hand-to-hand slaughter. On day 1, 60,000 British troops charge across the field with longswords raised. Less than 20% return. The rest fall to German scythe formations and burning oil traps. Gallipoli transforms into a bloody coastal siege. British and Anzac glider troops crash against Ottoman walls. Arrows rain down. The beaches turn red. Verdun earns a new name, the Fortress Grinder. Stone towers collapse after months of trebuchet bombardments. The dead are stacked like sandbags. The living pray for silence. Tannenberg becomes the death of the Russian spear line. German armored cavalry outflank and slaughter them in a frozen forest. It's not just a defeat, it's a massacre. Back home, the cracks begin to show. Women step into blacksmithing guilds, producing armor and blades. Families donate heirlooms to forge new weapons. Even children are taught how to wield short swords. Heroic poems are broadcast from town squares, but they mask the trauma. Many soldiers return in silence, broken not by bullets, but by memories. The press calls it the blade curse, what we might call PTSD. Armor becomes scarce. New recruits are sent into battle wearing leather jerkins and desperation. They're called bare blade battalions, and they die by the thousands. Food riots break out. Churches are burned by mobs. Religious leaders claim the war is divine punishment. Revolts rise across Russia, Germany, and even France. Chivalry is dead, but the war grinds on. By 1918, Germany collapses. Its steel supply lines are shattered. Its Iron Titans rust in frozen mud. Its blacksmith guilds lie in ruin. The Treaty of Versailles is signed, not in a grand hall, but in a shattered cathedral. Each representative brings a ceremonial sword. Germany is forced to surrender its breeding rights to war horses and disband all smithing operations. A new peacekeeping body is formed, the League of Realms, tasked with monitoring global armor production and enforcing disarmament. They send sword inspectors to ensure no nation rises too quickly again. But peace is an illusion. Germany is humiliated, and a veteran named Adolf Hitler, once a wounded Zweihander soldier, begins spreading whispers of the Blade Reborn. In the 1920s and 30s, a new ideology spreads. It glorifies the knight, the warrior. The idea that Germany was betrayed not on the battlefield, but by cowards who refused to finish the fight. Hitler's message is simple. Steel made us strong. Shame made us weak. The people listen. Fascist movements across Europe adopt medieval symbols. Blacksmiths are reinstated. New war machines rise. Bladed vehicles, siege engines with gasoline engines, and early experiments with electricity-driven armor. In this world, World War II is not inevitable, but it is coming. Decades later, the world is changed forever. Museums display rusted halberds, torn banners, and blood-soaked shields. Military training begins in elementary schools, martial arts and blade drills. National identity becomes wrapped in swordsmanship. The trauma never fades. Veterans speak of the screams, the smells, the feeling of killing someone up close. In the 1940s, scientists begin rediscovering gunpowder, A new debate ignites. Should we return to a world of bullets or remain forever in the age of steel? Some call the sword a noble weapon. Others call it a slow butcher's tool. But one thing is clear. The price of honor was paid in blood, and humanity may never be the same. So, what do you think? Was this sword and shield version of World War I more noble or more horrifying? Would face-to-face combat make war more human or more savage? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If this alternate history blew your mind, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss the next deep dive into the world that could have been. And if you're still hungry for more, check out the next video on your screen, where we explore what if Hitler won World War II. Until then, sharpen your mind and question history.